What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and it is Tuesday, which means it's time for our weekly tier list Tuesday. And every single year before the season, I give out the tier list of the teams that I am rooting for and rooting against in the upcoming season. Obviously, the tippy top of this tier list stays the same, the New York Islanders, and the bottom usually stays the same, but kind of that middle ground, I do tend to like ebb and flow with certain teams. If I rode a team hard in prior seasons, maybe I'm just like kind of easing off them now. I got a new team that I'm gonna be rooting for a decent amount, or maybe there were different player trades, coaching hirings and firings, and as a result, I now like or dislike a certain team. So this is always a fun tier list for me to do. So we're gonna rip through it. Here are the different tiers, 6 tiers in this one. Obviously, Islanders go in that top tier. My non-Isles teams this season. This is only going to be like 2 to 4 teams. Like them a solid amount. If they're playing on a random Wednesday night, I'll probably be rooting for them a little bit. Neutral, hope that they end up making the playoffs. A team and like them a solid amount and maybe go on a run. Neutral, I really just don't have like any strong feelings about them. Dislike them. There's probably going to be a lot of Metro teams or one player. You can maybe imagine which players that could be. Or just straight up hate them. I am going to be rooting against them in basically every single situation. And I arguably get more joy watching them lose, especially in the playoffs, than like the Islanders making the playoffs or winning a singular round. I am a hater at heart. The New York Islanders up first. They're my team. They are my team. The reason why I'm a New York Islanders fan, I get this question a lot in my comments. I grew up in New Jersey, but my dad grew up on Long Island. The dude got to watch 4 straight Stanley Cups when he was 20 to 24 years old. I've not been as lucky, but I am a diehard Islanders fan because of him. Shout out, Dad. The Anaheim Ducks. Leo Carlson's a friend of the channel. Feel free to go check out the interviews that I've done with him previously. I don't love that they hired Joel Quenneville, but yeah, I'm rooting for Carlson. They have a fun, young, up-and-coming core. Like the Anaheim Ducks. I'm not as high on them in terms of them taking another step, because I think last year was really a goalie tandem, but I like to root for them. The Winnipeg Jets, I feel like I get called the hater of them just because I don't really think that they're like a top tier contender and they are kind of old at this point, but I do like the Winnipeg Jets. I went to Winnipeg. I had a fantastic time. They're great people, and the whiteout is fantastic. So I do want to see the Jets succeed, especially considering they're in a smaller market. I don't want to see them have to go through some kind of rebuild and then face relocation, because my New York Islanders for a time, they were moving to Kansas City according to everybody. So I can relate to them, and I like them a solid amount. The Boston Bruins, I dislike them. Just a Northeast team. They faced off against the New York Islanders in the 2021 playoffs. Boston has had enough, especially maybe this goes more towards like the NFL. I'm a Jets fan compared to the Patriots. Like, they've had too much success as a city. They can suck for a couple of years and they'll be perfectly goddamn fine, okay? Buffalo, on the other hand, I am actually going to have put Buffalo in one of my non-Islanders teams this year. I've been low on Buffalo the prior 2 years, and everybody else was still like, this might be the year to make the playoffs. Now it feels like everybody's abandoned that ship. So I'm kind of getting back on it. Not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I'll be rooting for them to potentially make the playoffs. I defended them with the J.J. Peterka deal a little bit. If he wanted out, if he wasn't going to resign, I thought they actually got a pretty solid package on them. I feel like people package for him. I feel like people are a little bit low on Buffalo. I'm usually kind of neutral on Washington, but I'm going to put them in dislike, at least for this upcoming season, because last year was kind of fluky, and I feel like people are still acting like that they're going to be a legit team this year. They need to get put down a little bit, back down to earth. Everything went right for this goddamn team last year. They need a little bit of humble pie. I think they're going to be a solid team, but probably not winning the Metro Division yet again. The Mammoth, I might end up putting them up in that second tier. I really like Logan Cooley. I really like Dylan Gunther. I defended those guys so much in their draft year. They're a fun team that hopefully should make the playoffs. I might put them. I'm already putting too many teams. I already got 2 out of the potential 4 that I could fit in there. And this is honestly my turn. You're going to kill me for this. I'm a contrarian, and I want to see Mitch Marner succeed. Like, I would love the idea. You can imagine where the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be in this tier list. I would love for Mitch Marner to win a Stanley Cup in like his first season with the Vegas Golden Knights. They play the villain role perfect. For a sports league, you do need the villains, and the Vegas Golden Knights have been so, after being like the team that everybody loved back in 2018, they have become the villains, and I love them for that. And them snagging Marner is awesome. The New Jersey Devils, I'm from New Jersey. In my lifetime, outside of like, 2023, they both made the playoffs. The Devils and the Islanders have never really been good at the same time during my watching history starting in like 2006. So I like the Devils. I like Jack Hughes. I like Nico Hischier. And the enemy of The enemy, what does it go? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's how I feel about the New Jersey Devils. Not to spoil who's going to be at the bottom tier. The Calgary Flames, neutral on them. I like Dustin Wolf. I like Zane Parekh. I defended Parekh a lot in his draft year. And but overall, beyond that, they're kind of irrelevant. The Vancouver Canucks, I feel like I get called a hater on them just because like I'm concerned about Elias Pettersson, concerned about Thatcher Demko, but I think that's valid concern considering their injury history the last 2 years. I don't really care either way if the Vancouver Canucks are great or bad next season. Carolina, though, Metro team knocked out the Islanders in 2023, 2024. Yeah, I just don't want to see them. I just don't want to see them win a Stanley Cup. I think that's kind of valid. Toronto, hate them. Obviously, it is because of one player, but also like the Toronto Maple Leafs on the whole. I like Austin Matthews a decent amount, as well as Matthew Nyes. But the overall Toronto, the full package, the fans, and then John Tavares make them a very hateable team. The Chicago Blackhawks are obviously, of course, tough with the Kyle Beach stuff. Thankfully, they have basically cleared house outside of ownership in terms of coaching and general managing. But I think I'm still going to just put him in neutral. I hope Bedard develops well, but I can't say I'm rooting for the Chicago Blackhawks based on what has happened to them, what they did. The Philadelphia Flyers, dislike them. Metro team. Philly fans are absolutely crazy. I love how crazy they are, but considering I am a New Jersey guy, I got to be against them. Pittsburgh Penguins, I don't have the same hate for the Leafs, but I do kind of like. I'll go with dislike. I don't want them to be horrible this season. That would kind of be brutal if they end up getting Gavin McKenna. God damn, fucking ad just came up. Get out of here, Best Buy. No free plugs. Pittsburgh Penguins, just a dislike. Definitely hated them in like the early 2010s, mid 2010s when they were at like the peak of their powers and the Islanders were getting dummied by them in the regular season and the playoffs. But nowadays they're kind of irrelevant, but I'm always going to dislike them. Colorado, I'm going to go with like them a solid amount. They have two of my favorite Islanders of all time in Devon Toews and Brock Nelson. They're a fun ass team to watch with Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. They're pretty damn good in my books. Columbus, you got to like them a lot. After losing Johnny Gaudreau, obviously, they're a very inspirational story. Last year, almost making the playoffs. Yes, they are in the Metro Division, but there's not some kind of Islanders, Columbus Blue Jackets rivalry dating back. I'm still rooting for Columbus. I hope that they have a pretty good season. Dallas, I like them a lot. I like Jason Robertson, like Miro Heiskanen. They're a fun, young team. Want them to eventually make a Stanley Cup final, considering they keep on getting blue balls the last 3 years in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, that's about where I am. The Yzer plan, I found myself defending the Yzer plan a lot the last 12 months. I'm going to go with neutral. Yes, I back in 2023, I was called crazy for criticizing it at all, and now I'm kind of on the flip side of that. I don't really want it to make the playoffs entirely because I want some other teams, but I like Raymond, I like Sider. The Edmonton Oilers, I want to see McDavid win a cup, but they're just fumbling around him. Just running back Stuart Skinner. I'll still go with like him a solid amount just because Connor McDavid's so fucking fun to watch, as well as Leon Draisaitl. San Jose Sharks, I also like him a solid amount. Maybe I'm too nice. Again, this isn't like I actively like keep up with these teams. I only really root for the New York Islanders. But how can you not like the San Jose Sharks right now? Celebrety's a fun guy. Seems like a great personality. Will Smith, their dynamic's awesome. And they're one of the up-and-coming teams in the NHL. Florida, I also like. I'm a South Florida guy. I was going to games before they became what they are now when I went to school at UMiami. So as a result, I got to put some respect on the Florida Panthers name. Next up, we got the LA Kings. I'm pretty neutral. Maybe I honestly kind of dislike them just considering how bad it's been with Ken Holland. Like they became a team that has been so dysfunctional in their management that I kind of dislike them. They should not win with having this bad of management this past offseason. The Minnesota Wild, they're going to be one of my teams. I'm yet again high on my boy Kirill Kaprizov. Yeah, I just like Minnesota. I feel like they're kind of underrated still somehow at this point. When they had Kirill Kaprizov, they're one of the best teams in the NHL. St. Louis Blues, perfectly neutral on them. Fun team, up and coming, but I don't really feel passionate anyway about them. Nashville Predators, kind of the same. You could arguably say because, like a Barry Trotz, their management has been so bad that I've kind of resented them, but I do love Barry Trotz at the end of the day, so mixed feelings there. Next up, the team that I truly despise is the New York Rangers. It's not even close. Like Toronto Maple Leafs, it's loose hate. It's John Tavares. Once he's off the team in like 4 years, they'll go back probably just to dislike. The New York Rangers, it's just generational hate between me and the New York Rangers. Actively root against them. Like when they get eliminated in 2024, 2022, those are some of my best hockey watching moments, alongside, of course, when the Islanders made the conference finals in 2020 and 2021. But yeah, I revel in the New York Rangers. Losing Ottawa, I still really like them, but I have rode the Ottawa Senators the last 2 seasons. I need to move them down a tier. I cannot make it 3 straight seasons. They're still one of my favorite teams, but for this season, I still hope they make the playoffs, but I don't have them to the same degree. I'll always love you, Ottawa. The rebuild is now over, but I cannot continue to just completely glaze like I have in prior years. Montreal, this goddamn Best Buy ad. Leave me alone. Montreal, yeah, emphasis on one player. I like most of the rest of the Montreal Canadiens teams. And just Noah Dobson didn't want to sign with the New York Islanders. And thankfully, because he was an RFA, unlike a John Tavares, we were able to get assets for him. And I think once Eklund and Aitchison are making an impact at the NHL level, I won't really care it as much as long as those guys actually pan out to a decent degree. But right now, I don't think it's petty to root against Noah Dobson. Like he wanted $10.5 million from the New York Islanders, decided to go to a different team for only 9.5. I think that's fair game for the next season or two to root against him, if that makes sense. But it's never going to be the same level of John Tavares because he didn't have the same impact and he didn't just leave an unrestricted free agency. Seattle's kind of like LA, like Botterill, Francis just pissed me off. Now I'm like, you don't deserve success. But I still do like guys like Matty Beniers, Shane Wright, and Berkeley Cannon. So I'll go neutral on them. And then obviously the Tampa Bay Lightning. I dislike them. Although, of course, they did hold back my New York Islanders. They probably would have won the Stanley Cup in 2021, in my opinion, almost definitely. No offense to that Montreal Canadiens team, but Carey Price just ran out of gas. Tampa held us back from winning Stanley Cups. So there is like, they definitely be the next team in terms of hate, but like, I like Nikita Kucherov. I like Hedman. I like Point. They seem like nice guys. And I like JBB as the general manager. That guy's not afraid to make the most aggressive moves of all time. So they're just in the dislike category. Let me move myself out of the way. This is the tier list heading into next season. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Am I absolutely out of my mind for having the Vegas Golden Knights in that second tier? What does your tier list look like? It definitely depends on what division you're in terms of that second to last tier, I could imagine. And I'll be seeing you in the next one. Let me know any other tier list that you want to see me do next. Peace.